Alrighty, and welcome back to Let's Talk The Walking Dead. I am CJ,
Alec?
And do.
and today we're going to be talking about Season 8, Episode 2, The Damned.
The darned.
The Darned.
For those at home.
For those who don't want to get demonetized. Alrighty, so let's start off with some general feels about the episode. Alec, how did you feel?
Good. I liked the episode for the most part. I think there were there's always a couple of things that I don't necessarily love, but like overall, I'm happy I watched it. I mean, always, but like.
Would you say it's an improvement on the first episode of the season?
No.
No?
No.
Agreed.
I think it's a lot more muted than the first episode. The first episode had a lot of action and it was very driven. And there were some very clear things, and then very not clear things going on, obviously, with the flashbacks and whatnot. But, like, overall, the story was very fluid. This seemed like a lot of side plots. And
The actual
It was more
plot
chaotic.
didn't
Yeah.
actually move forward, really.
the plot didn't do anything, yeah. I liked the advances that the first episode made, and I think that this is a good development of the ideas. However, I don't think it tops the first episode.
This episode covered about, 20 real-time minutes, maybe?
Probably
Not even.
20 minutes, yeah.
More than likely. So, Dale, what was your first impressions on this episode?
It was really action-packed, even though we didn't actually see that many people die.
There was a lot of, like, suppressive fire. CJ and I were talking about that.
It was
when we were
all
watching.
suppressive fire. At least, like, in the first episode, the suppressive fire was actually the distraction to get the walker herd there.
Right.
But this was literally just suppressive fire.
Yeah, they were just unloading.
Well, there's a little bit more to that, but we'll touch back on that. My first impressions was I liked how it wasn't all jumbled like the first episode was, because I will say it was kind of weird how it kind of cut back and forth to different times, and like that flash forward dream sequence Rick was having with like Michonne and Carl all in their house and everything's hunky-dory. So I feel like this one was a little bit easier to follow because it was just the story of these guys invading that outpost. And it was a little bit more straightforward, even though it didn't really advance the plot. But I feel like it was a solid kind of filler episode.
It was filler without being, like, too filler, though.
There was still action and there was still character development, but the plot, you could I would say, after the season's over, if you go back and watch the season, if you go back and you kind of skip this episode, you're not going to miss out on a whole lot of stuff.
Probably only need to watch, like, 10 minutes of the episode.
Exactly. You don't necessarily need to watch the whole
So,
45 minutes.
something I just realized: the entire Carol Ezekiel story this episode was literally them just following a guy through the woods.
Yeah, and that weird... this is probably a good time to talk about the Ezekiel
Theatrics.
speech.
I was
That dude has some serious character.
Yeah, so in the episode, Carol was talking to him like, why are you worried or like freaking out that we might lose this? And he's like, I am and I am not. I'm like, yes and no. He kept saying like yes and no. It was being very
He's like, I am and I am not. Yes and no.
Pretty much-
Then no, then yes.
At-
then no twice.
The speech was really kind of weird, but
I was
at
like,
the end of it,
what is
it's
going on?
his way is really odd way of basically saying, I'm the leader, I have to exuberate this confidence to give it to my people so that
That's
they
true,
can be
but
better.
That's fine, but like,
It was a little weird though.
so weird.
so over the top.
He's so extra. Don't you think,
And
CJ?
keep in mind that Carol's the one that he pulled aside and said, this is all bullshit. This is a facade.
Right.
Well, because Carol doesn't bullshit around, and that's all he does
Yeah.
is bullshit. Because, I mean, props to him, though, I will say, for Ezekiel, because as a character, I mean, he wasn't originally this strong stand-up guy. He was just had the theatricality to rally people under his cause, and the fact that he's still able to keep up that facade to improve morale. I mean, he's putting a lot of effort into making the kingdom and all the people who are under him feel safe and secure. So, I mean, it makes sense for his character, but still, it's so over the top. And this episode kind of exemplified that with his little speech.
I mean, I liked the idea of the speech, but
It was almost a little too over the top.
After the yes, no, no, yes, then no twice, I stopped listening. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, what is he even saying?
I don't think I could roll my eyes any farther back in the back of my head.
Well, since we were talking about the suppressive fire, what about let's talk about like the almost like the plan with the firefight at the beginning that we intro on. Well, not intro on, after the Carol and Ezekiel thing. When we were talking about the Aaron's team, we'll call it Aaron's team because he's the main character of the hour. And like with the idea of not, I mean, it seemed like it was almost purposeful to not shoot anybody in the head to get the walkers on the fight.
Right.
Like, what did you guys think of that plan in general? It's something that we haven't really seen.
Dale, why don't you start us off on this one?
Throughout the episode, it's just a big firefight, but nothing really happens. People die, people get shot. But what actually was the real plan, though?
Well, Aaron said at some point it was like, we don't need to defeat them, we just need to hold them off long enough so that they can take all their shit, so that Rick can get the guns.
Mm-hmm. Which is why they weren't moving up. They were just
Right.
killing them off long enough for the walkers to come back to add extra distraction.
Pressure, yeah, and kill the lady.
Yeah, that was
The
like
lady with excellent skin for being in a zombie apocalypse,
She did look good. A lot of moisturizer.
which is weird.
A little
you
weird.
say like that lady's death for her kind of like leadership and all that. I felt like her death was a little lackluster.
Oh, it was totally stupid. When the zombie came up to bite her in the neck, it looked like she was pushing her off like it was some overzealous drunk guy at the bar.
It really did.
It didn't look like she was like fighting for her life. It was like, she was like, they didn't need to move up.
Oh,
and then just
no.
like, I have accepted death. Yeah, it was
She's
almost
like-
like
she's like, "No."
they outplayed me. And then she's just done.
And she's just dead. That was her character arc. It was unnamed savior number 3. But yeah.
There were a lot of
No, she actually had a
deaths.
name. I don't remember what it was.
There were a couple of deaths on both sides. They were all pretty who gives a crap unnamed characters, but you know, something was happening at least. And Eric, Aaron's boyfriend, got a little bit of a tummy shot.
But do you know who didn't get a tummy shot? Morgan. Now, let's bring it over to that real quick. In the episode, there was a point where Morgan and 2 other guys are going to go through a door and take out some of the saviors, and they were able to take out one guy, but then a bunch of other guys came behind the door with guns and shot them all down. And then the 2 guys next to Morgan were riddled with bullets, and Morgan didn't have a scratch on him. And
I hate that it was just like, Morgan did not expect these men to show up with guns. He saw his friends die, and then he was like, immediately in his brain, time to fake play dead and hope that I don't get shot.
Here's the
Say-
thing. The thing with this is, they shot point blank from the doorway into into all of them. He had
Yeah.
to get at least grazed by something, and he gets up and just walks away
Well,
completely fine.
But CJ, he's wearing all of his plot armor.
His plot armor.
That's true. He got shot in the nothing.
He got shot in the nothing. Oh my gosh, that just kind of
I was pretty annoyed with that.
Also,
because
they're the only team that just apparently didn't have any sort of breach tactics.
Yeah, like what?
because me and Alec were sitting there watching the episode, and Alec turns to me and says, it's gonna pan to him laying on the ground, and his eyes are gonna open. And he's gonna be totally fine, or he's gonna be like shot in the arm or something. And he gets up. He's not even shot in the arm.
And then
he's just
and then he goes like, "Oh, Punisher."
Yeah.
and then he goes all Punisher.
Oh my god.
That was.
So on the same team, we have Jeebus and Terra, who apparently Jesus is a pacifist now, and doesn't like to get the job done. I mean, you got even Morgan killing people.
And Morgan was the pacifist.
Right.
I feel like they kind of passed off the pacifist role from Morgan to Jesus, because they feel like someone in there has to be the voice of reason, be like, oh, we can't
But
just
it's
kill
stupid.
everyone. It is stupid because Jesus almost got himself and Terra killed.
And then he's like, but still, we're just gonna hog tie him, I guess.
See, for me, this really kind of came out of
He didn't
nowhere.
even surrender.
Yeah, it totally did come out of nowhere, though.
I mean, have we? I don't remember seeing anything in previous episodes or seasons.
He was always like hand to hand, but he was never like, we don't kill people.
Yeah,
was
he
never
ain't
that
Batman.
guy. Yeah, like
Yeah.
he was never like that. And just like the fact that it was like, our job is to kill these people, and Jesus is like, well, fuck that plan that we all agreed on. I just am gonna do my own thing.
I do kind of agree with the whole they surrendered bit. But
I feel
the guy that took him hostage, they should have just blasted him.
See, that's
Okay, I knew it. I knew that guy was somewhere. I was like, that guy totally did something. He was a plot point somewhere.
Wait, are we talking about the guy
The
Morgan?
long-haired guy.
Yeah, he was
the guy that
he was the
Morgan
guy
was
that
gonna kill.
shot Ben, the kid from the kingdom.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm talking about the guy that took Jesus hostage. They should have blasted him.
They should have blasted all of them.
here's my issue with this.
I don't
is that-
agree.
You don't agree.
Okay,
I
why
think
not?
the people that surrendered, with the exception of the one long-haired guy, should have been spared.
The long-haired guy and the hog-tied guy.
Yeah, those guys probably should have died. However, everybody else that surrendered, they surrendered in a war. Like it's still human life.
The problem for me on this point, and this is why it's the counterpoint, is like, it's not their surrender to surrender. Like, they're the pawns, right? You're not getting the king to surrender, you're getting like the bishop to surrender, and that's not the same thing, because you're not going to convert those people.
Those
I
are
mean,
going to
clearly-
be your most
clearly a lot of
convertible.
them.
They're in the
Clearly-
outpost. They're not even at the sanctuary.
Yeah, but they're still part of the bigger game.
They're still Negan.
Yeah, they're still Negan. Even the guy who pissed himself. Okay, when that guy peed himself, and they said, "What's your name?" and he said, "My name is Negan," I would shot him right in the brain.
Gonna be
Right
honest,
then
I
and
did
there.
not catch that.
I swear I heard him say, "My name is Negan," and that would have been
I don't
it.
think he said Negan, but if he did, I would immediately shot him. Here's the thing with this. Here's my interpretation on this. I feel like he was surrendered. He'd peed his pants. Immediately, you put his face to the ground and you tie him up.
Yeah.
That is the first thing you do, because you are in a compound shooting people.
Yeah, there's like shit
You don't
going
have time
down.
to be like, well, is he good or not? You put his face on the floor, you hog tie him. That's
There-
what they should have done in the first place. And yes, he surrendered, but you didn't kill him. You hog tied him, you leave him there. Hog tied, unable to do anything, and you come back for him later.
While Tara and Jesus are bickering at each other, you can totally, if you listen closely, the gunfire in the background just stops for a minute and then it comes back.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, I feel like that should have been the first thing they should have done. And Jesus shouldn't have been like, here, get on up, just casually pointing the gun on him. No,
It's not,
take him down. And,
it's not the first
and
time
when-
they've knocked people out. Like, just knock them out. Also.
Exactly. It's like,
You're not killing him, man. You're just blacking him out a little bit.
and obviously they saw that even if they surrender, quote unquote, they put their hands in the air, they say, oh no, that guy even peed himself to go
Yeah.
with the illusion that he was going to surrender to him, when he really just wanted to kill them.
Yeah.
So after seeing that, I am
True.
while I hate Tara and everything about her, I 100% agree with her that you shouldn't leave them alive because you see their mentality. That even if they quote unquote surrender, they're not surrendering to Rick's group.
If you've got Morgan coming up with a gun and saying we don't kill these people, and he says what do we do? Like, come on.
You let him go.
You just you pop them, man. You don't let that fly.
The
You
one
got Morgan on the right side here.
the one younger guy that like, popped out of the garage or whatever, and he's like
Uh-huh.
surrender, and they're like surrender, die basically. It's just like surrendering sounds better than dying. So
Yeah.
there's also that.
Yeah, but like, I don't like it because okay, if you think of it like I said, if you think of it like a game of chess, you've got Rick and Negan, the kings, and then you've got the different groups being the different pieces. So like pawn, bishop, horse,
Horse.
queen. What?
I'm sorry. Horse.
It's a horse. Anyway, I know it's a knight. It's a horse. Anyway.
Continue.
You've got the different outposts with the pawns, and you've got the different group leaders as the more important pieces on the back row.
But-
You having a pawn surrender means literally nothing in the grand scheme of things. You still could win or lose a game of chess without your pawns.
But what if, sorry, there are also workers though. There are people that are being held against their will, and people that don't necessarily agree. They're just like, okay, I guess this is better than living out on the road or just being killed by these people.
But they are taking up arms. All those people who had guns,
They all had guns.
I 100% think that after they opened up that garage door, they should have gunned all those people down.
Or lined them up. And this is kind of like a terrible thing to say, but when they lined them up at the end there, they should have firewalled them.
Well, and the thing is, they say that to argue that like, oh, this wouldn't happen in the real world and stuff like that. Well, like all throughout like World War II, American soldiers did that to German and like Japanese forces. They would line them up on walls and gun them down.
Well, even then, I think that argument is so past because like
Yeah.
it's already too late for this to not happen. Like
That's the
they're
thing.
so far past that.
That's the thing, is like it's like it doesn't take that much for people to get to that point, so why is Jesus in the middle of a zombie apocalypse trying to bring in reason?
And this isn't the same thing as like if you go back a season when two seasons actually, where Glenn kills his first guy at the outpost. This isn't the same thing as that. These are like people who signed up to kill outposts of people. Like it's time.
No one has any moral quandaries. They've been doing it like the entire episode.
And they know that they need to sacrifice moral, whatever's in their head to get the job done. And I think it's a bullshit play, and I think that Jesus's plan is stupid, and I think it's going to get a lot of people killed.
Good.
I 100%.
A lot of
agree with
our
that.
people killed.
Mhm. Not Negan's people, because we don't kill them.
No, we don't kill Negan's people. Yeah, like what is that?
That is just nonsense.
But- It's almost like in any given situation, they're gonna take the opportunity to kill us, but we're gonna not kill them.
That's what I'm saying.
They could be like, oh, we're better than them. We don't stoop to their level. Well, yes, you did. You murdered the rest of the outpost.
Yeah,
Just because these guys put their hands in the air, you shouldn't even give them the chance to surrender.
yeah.
I don't know. Prisoners of war, man. It's hard to say.
Okay, well, think about this. Now that you have, what did they have, like 20?
20, so yeah.
Let's just say 20 prisoners now. Now you have 20 mouths to feed
True.
of people who don't support your cause, who are only going to slow you down,
Or turn against you.
and or turned against you.
Yeah.
So there is literally, it is actually...
There's no benefit.
It's an impairment.
Yeah.
There's no benefit to keeping these guys alive.
And especially in this situation, because if they really are as insignificant as we think they are, then they know nothing. So you don't get information from them.
And you can't go to Negan and say, we got 20 of your men.
Because Negan don't give a fuck.
He doesn't give a fuck. And he's trapped in a...
I think it was Gabriel.
Trailer?
Yeah. Yeah, trailer.
which we did
Sad
not
that
get
we
this
didn't
week.
go back to that. Yeah, I'm sad that we didn't go back to that.
I was kind of wanting to. I would have just gotten like. I would have been okay if they just would have shown the outpost or the sanctuary with just maybe just a quick like minute or two just on Negan and Gabriel in that trailer.
I was disappointed because I did bring my shitting pants this week, and I didn't get to use them because Negan very specifically instructed me to wear my shitting pants.
It's just.
I don't know. I think that I think that it's better that we didn't see it. In my opinion, I would rather either see a lot of it in the trailer or see none of it.
Yeah, that would have been a little more jumping around. That's just unnecessary.
See, I agree with that. I definitely think it should be an all or nothing thing. I was very excited to see what Negan was gonna do in that trailer, but
Oh, we still will
it'd be
see.
yeah, we'll see in the next coming episode or two what actually goes on in there.
So we have, real quickly before we go to the end of our topics here, we have one more glimpse into the random off-screen Polaroids, where after the outpost surrenders, you see a man taking a picture of all of the people lined up with a Polaroid picture. CJ, you weren't here last week, so what are your thoughts on the Polaroid pictures? Because we thought it was, well, at least I thought it was a, this is where Negan is, and Dale thought it was a, this is the damage we can do. From the first episode, when he took the picture of Negan after the RV bomb. But now we see it seems to be a trend.
I feel like I don't remember. Did Negan take a photo or something from
Somebody took a photo. The guy that Glenn killed back 2 seasons ago, the first guy Glenn killed, he took a picture of everybody he killed.
Yeah, it was like a montage.
Because that's kind of the vibe I'm getting, is that what they're going to
that's-
do is they're going to take a picture of all the stuff that goes on, and then towards the end of the season, which is just my personal prediction, towards the end of the season, we're going to see when that conflict with Negan and Rick comes to near a resolution, they send him a box with every single picture they've taken of all the different stuff they've done as kind of like their last
Because Negan doesn't know, because Negan's trapped.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting idea.
That
it's like, Negan, look what we did while you were out, big boy.
They're literally rewriting history too.
That is true.
transcribing their history.
Maybe that's part of it too. They've decided this is one for the history books.
It's the new civilization
It's
they're
the
trying to
new
build.
world.
It's also a possibility. But
That's interesting.
yeah, that's kind of my theory, is that they're taking pictures of all the damage they've done to Negan, and it's going to be it's going to accumulate in a pretty much a collage of all these different photos. They will come together at one point. That is my solid prediction.
Which will be very interesting to see. So now we have the end of the episode. So we do have, I guess we'll touch on the baby. Rick killing the baby's dad.
See, I felt
And
that,
how it made him feel. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
See, that was I think it was kind of weird seeing a baby in there, but it also kind of like shows Rick that what he's kind of become.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks in the
After
mirror.
Yeah, he looks. I think that was kind of very on the nose. Him looking in the mirror and being like, "Oh God, what have I become?"
Yeah.
But like, it wasn't as subtly done as it could have been. It was very much in your face.
Yeah,
Like,
they wanted to drive that point home, which leads me to think it'll be something important next episode.
I think it will too. I think it's gonna be a big part of Rick's arc.
yeah, especially after he got captured by what was his name?
Morales.
Morales.
Recognized Morales right away. Like after he said
Okay.
something like
Rick?
Hi, Rick.
or hi Rick, or it's been a long time or whatever. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my
it's
God, it's
hi, Rick.
Morales.
How did you remember that? Because
I've
I looked at it,
seen
and it's like,
episode. I've seen the first season enough. I didn't really recognize
I've
the
only-
guy, but I recognized what was happening.
So,
the first time I watched season 1 was back in 2014. Like,
yeah, 3 years ago.
yeah, 3 years ago, and I've only watched the first season once. So when he was like, "Hey, Rick," I just turned to Alec and I was like, "Who is this guy?"
I have seen season 1 a good couple of times. I've seen it 3 or 4 times. Truth be told, I've introduced a good couple of people to the show. Now, when I saw him, I semi-recognized him. I kind of recognized him, but not really. And then he said, "Hi, Rick," and immediately my brain went, "Oh my god, it's a nameless guy from the fucking camp from season 1." Like, because we didn't know him. I barely recognized him. And it wasn't until I looked him up, which I guess for those at home who don't know, he was in the final episode of season 1 where they went to the CDC, and after they got out of the CDC...
It was the 2 episodes before the CDC.
I don't think so. Was it?
The final episode was just the CDC. The penultimate episode was them leaving for the CDC, where him and his family decide to go to Alabama?
Alabama. Birmingham.
Sounds
See,
alright.
I feel like
Because they had family there.
yeah. My personal take on this was, I mean, I feel like it was kind of weird because for a lot of people watching the show, they haven't recently watched the first episode or like got well acquainted enough with this character that the callback doesn't really mean anything.
They're gonna have to really tie that character in and have a story of why he's there, or else it's gonna be really just weird.
That's the thing, is like they're gonna have to bring it back all the way to season 1 because just him saying "Hi, Rick," I would beg to say at least 80% of all people watching The Walking Dead were probably like, "Do we know this guy?" Like
The real diehard fans will recognize him, but probably don't know his name.
that's the thing, is that I feel like the callback to him all the way to season 1 is like, okay, like I kind of get it, but I feel like that's way too long of a
Like,
time.
it needs to be purposeful, or else it's gonna be like, it could have been anybody,
Okay.
though.
Yeah, okay. What was stupid was that even in season 1, he didn't really do anything besides
Leave.
have a family. Yeah, and leave. And even at that, if he really did leave before the 2 episodes, before the CDC episodes, he was in like 4 episodes.
I want to say
begs-
he was in like 2 or 3. Maybe.
Well, there's only 6 episodes in season 1. So, like, it begs the question, who cares?
Was there really only 6 episodes in season 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that like a short season or?
It was the first one to do it, and then after that they got renewed for the 13. And they've been, what was it?
13 and then 16. 16.
13 and 16.
I was gonna say 6 feels way short. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's really weird.
They packed a lot into those 6 episodes.
That's true.
They were good episodes.
They were good. I quite enjoyed season 1.
I guess when people talk about how the Walking Dead's been going on for 8 seasons, they might as well just say 7, because you combine 1 and 2.
Fair enough. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I care.
They better make it meaningful. Or else.
That's
Yeah.
They're-
Otherwise, it's a huge
whatever.
waste.
That's the thing, is like they're gonna have to do something big, and they're going to have like a story point where they go back to season 1 and explain this character, because again, most people watching the show are probably like, I bet nobody was like, "Oh, it's Morales."
Yeah.
Did you guys know it was Morales? Like, I don't think they'd be like,
Yeah.
like that guy looks vaguely familiar. Like, did we see him in season 1?
He knows Rick, but I don't know him. Well, let's talk about the death pool quickly then. So,
Dale, you got gypped on Morgan.
Yep,
this week.
nearly got it.
now I don't remember, did I put Morgan down?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so, but I should have.
However,
I think
after
we were all in agreement that his arc was kind of done since he's like gone back to killing.
Yeah.
And we were thinking like it's okay for him to die off now. And also in the episode where he goes like, "I don't die." It's like, I was like, "Oh God, he's gonna die."
And there's 1 point Dale.
yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
CJ was close
After
on Jesus.
after this episode, I'm thinking more with your guys' Jesus pick.
Yeah, Jesus and Tara almost died, So,
CJ would have had a double kill.
Yeah,
If they both got next by that guy with the
Yeah.
piss pants.
You guys almost got 2 double kills back to back. Chipped out of all of it.
yeah, we got gypped, but yeah, I'm still 100% on the boat that Jesus is gonna die. I think he's gonna get people killed, and I think he will eventually die because of the mistakes he makes. Because he is, I feel like I don't
There's
know.
characters that pull the moral compass. They always die. You got
They
Daryl,
tend to get
Dale.
screwed over.
You got Glenn.
Mhm.
Who else you got?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Like if you start and get more, even Morgan was like moral and stuff like that, and people started getting killed off because of it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until
People died because of his
But the thing
pacifistness.
about Morgan, though, was that Morgan's arc was more satisfying because when he did resolve back to killing again, it was like, wow, he's overcome this whole, like, passive aggression. He's worked out all of his anxiety with his kid dying and his wife dying and all this stuff, and he's overcome all this stuff. If Jesus is all of a sudden this random pacifist,
it doesn't
and then
make
he
sense.
switches back over and like, okay, I understand we need to kill these people. It accomplishes nothing.
It doesn't.
We've
make
already
any sense.
seen that change. We don't need to see it
We've
again.
already seen the change, and also we don't have the connection with Jesus that we did with Morgan.
Because Jesus is kind of an aloof character.
He's like this random rogue guy.
We really
Yeah, we
don't know much about him.
Which
He just
which
kinda
makes
does
me
cool
think that
stuff.
he can't die. We don't know enough about him. He can't die yet.
Or
That's
maybe
fair.
the other way around.
Maybe they want to keep it that way. They want to keep his character a mystery.
And I also I also feel like Tara is going to end up dead because of Jesus, which I'm again hoping for her death.
I'm thinking
That
if
could be the
Tara does
change.
die this season, I'm thinking that it's going to be directly caused by Jesus.
Directly caused by Jesus, and then Jesus will turn back to killing.
But then who cares? Oh,
one
it's so
cares.
frustrating.
I feel like it would be this random pacifist thing. I feel like isn't going to have a satisfying ending because at the most, Jesus goes like, "Okay, we do have to kill these people," and we've seen it before. We don't care because we don't care about Jesus, or he dies, and then we just don't care.
I just thought it was stupid that he was like, I'm not going to shoot a guy with his hands up. And I was like, okay, honorable thing. I get it. That's fine. So now he's got a gun to your head, and you finally fight him off of you, and he's basically like spitting in your face, and you're like, still not going to do it. It's like, okay, but like, the moral thing was correct the first time. I'm not going to shoot a man who's helpless. And now it's like, but what is your motivation to not be killing these people now? Because even Tara said, it's not about the revenge, it's about getting the job done.
No, here's the thing: didn't he kill other people?
Yeah.
He was killing people when they got into the compound.
Yeah.
So, why was this guy so different? And why was it in the middle that it was like...
Well, I understood the guy, but then like after the whole conflict and the resolution of the hostage situation, like whatever. Jesus' character is pissing me off. I don't know what he's doing.
You'd love to see him go.
I hate to see it go, but I love to get things right. It's like an evil laugh. Well, CJ, any closing thoughts? Dale? Either of you?
Shiva's kill count is 3. It's probably higher than quite a few characters recently.
Higher than Jesus, apparently.
Apparently. My closing thoughts. I thought it was an okay episode. It wasn't anything too crazy. Nothing really that provoking story-wise.
Right.
But I thought it was a good piece of action.
Yeah.
A nice 45 minutes. Nothing too crazy. Just a nice, easy watch.
Won't change your life, but
No.
you're glad it was there.
Yeah. I'm glad I watched it, but I didn't need it.
Yeah. I think I agree. I mean, I'm obviously going to watch the episodes anyway, but this episode in particular, with all the action, still seems kind of like a lull.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird the way that worked, but I liked the Rick character development. I don't like the Jesus character development. I like the Morgan character development. Overall, we got a lot of groups doing a lot of things, and Ezekiel's being a batshit crazy old guy.
It'll all come full circle.
All right, well, I think that's all the time we have this week. If you like this podcast, go ahead and leave it a like. If you want to see more of this podcast next week and more podcasts like it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and comment down below part of your death poll, what you got right last week from the death poll. What else? Where do you think next episode's going to lead us? So,
next episode, I can see us. Probably it's going to be an issue with the hostages that they've taken.
Yes.
okay. What do you think, Dale?
I think so
Just a
too.
blanket
And
statement.
it's going to be what they're going to do with the hostages and getting them back to wherever they're going.
I say it's going to be that, or next episode, they're going to cut away from all that action and bring it to Negan. With,
The story.
It will also be
Yeah, with
Morales and Rick.
Oh, okay. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be episode about Morales.
I think it's just going to be a
And-
continuation of this episode. Because none of those storylines really finished.
But it seems the best time to split it up. I don't know. We'll see.
we will see.
All right, and we'll see you next week. And we'll see you here. Have a good afternoon.